Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Crowell, and I are going to talk about the shifting convo I had with Kasey Jo Ordivas in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that episode, go back, listen to that one, and then come back to this one, or listen to this one and listen to that one, or listen to this one and another one and then come back to that one. You get to do whatever order of podcast listening you want to do. And I'm really excited because if it sounds like we're in a different room, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, whose 5-year-old bedroom are you in?
Yeah, that's what it feels like, definitely. It also may sound different than normal because we are not at home.
No, actually, so here's the deal. I was supposed to be there. There's so many things that are happening in the world right now, right? That it's like you want to do them all. And I believe in pauses. We believe in the power of the pause. And a girlfriend of mine, Corinne Walsh, who was actually, and Dr. Kelly Bender, who both have been guests on this podcast, they were both going to be in Scottsdale. Well, they were both in Scottsdale, Arizona for different conferences at the same time. It's a 45-minute flight.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're at different conferences at the same time. And so they're like, hey, do you want to come to Arizona and hang with us? And I was like, yeah, I do. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go there. But then Barely Canadian was supposed to have a fashion show, and they're like, hey, are you going to be able to come to our fashion show? And I was like, I think I can do that. And then you were like, but we're supposed to go camping. And I was like, well, I can do all the things. So let me just tell you, if you really want to do things, you probably can make it happen. So what was the original plan was I was going to fly to Arizona. I was going to hang with Corinne and Kelly, which I did do. But then the fashion show got moved to June 5th, which is my dad's birthday. So I can't do that. However, when we planned this, I was like flying from Arizona to LA, then taking an Amtrak train to Palm Springs, where Brad was going to pick me up in Palm Springs to go to Joshua Tree. Anyways, then this incredible thing happened. We're supposed to have an amazing phone call interview with this incredible magazine I didn't want to miss. So then we had to add a hotel in there. And then the fashion show got moved. So anyways, fast forward, rewind. I flew from Arizona to hang out with my girlfriends. Then I flew to Palm Springs. I'm in this pretty princess room because it's the only room available in Palm Springs on a Sunday during all these festivals. And Brad is here. We're recording these podcasts before we go to Joshua Tree to hang out in his cactus garden.
Heck yeah.
Anyway,
I'm so excited.
That is not what I was super excited about, but Brad wanted to make sure
Little side note.
We just wanted to make sure that you knew why we're in a weird space, and it's not a 5-year-old's room. This is a hotel room. You can get this, but they didn't pay me for this podcast, so I'm not telling you who it is. Okay, coming up in a couple of weeks, I am going to be with Erica Quest teaching a 6-hour pre-con at Momentum Fest. If you don't remember Jessica Vallant, she was on our show last year. She's incredible. Brad and I love Momentum Fest, and Brad's going to be there with our booth. I'm teaching at the festival all weekend long. So if you live in Denver, if you can get yourself to Denver, you need to be going to Momentum Fest. So check that out. And
it's a movement festival, so it's not just Pilates. They have all sorts of
yoga,
modalities
bar, meditation.
there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also just a great time. It's just great people. It's a really fun vibe, and the first year we did it because our friends were doing it, hosting it, and we were like, oh, well, of course we'll come in to support you, and it was so much fun. We were like, well, you're gonna do it again next year, right? Because we're coming. Yeah,
and then we actually didn't do the next one.
Well, then, with the next one we were out of the country.
Yeah. Anyways, but we believe in it so much. We sent everyone there, and we have gone back every year since. We're really excited about it. We'll have the flashcards there. We've got the book there. It's just a lot of fun. There's a solstice party. You can buy 1-day tickets, 2-day tickets. You can buy the pre-con without coming, or you can come to the whole thing. Just get your fast too at Momentum Fest, okay? And then one more thing I'm super excited about, because it's coming up quick. I can't believe how fast this summer is going, Brad.
Yeah, I know.
So
It's already May.
Elevate, if you remember, if you've been listening for a long time, Elevate is my mentorship program for Pilates instructors who are wanting to elevate their practice, their connection to the method, and how they teach the method. And our first round sold out. It's been incredible. It's a 9-month program. Anyways, we are about to open up the doors for the second round. Yes, I said second round. I'm going to do it after all. We are just confirming all the dates around the retreats, but we're taking fewer people this time. So if you are wanting to be invited to that mentorship, you actually do need to get onto the wait list because we are going to invite those people first come, first serve applications. So you need to go to, where do they need to go, Brad?
LesleyLogan.co/elevate.
Great. So you're going to go there to get on the wait list. Okay. We have an audience question, I think.
Yeah.
This is funny. This one made me laugh.
Well, I will let you read it because it's about me.
Yeah. So I got a question. Did I see that Brad does have an Instagram account? And it's been kind of funny because the whole time it's like Brad's not on Instagram. He's on social. But Brad, did you?
I totally did. I was inspired by our publicist. She said, Brad, you talk about cactuses so much. You should have an Instagram about that. And I was like, I would totally do that. I'm totally doing that. Mm-hmm. And so we brainstormed a lot of different names and ultimately got Cactus Daddy. That's Cactus_Daddy, DADDIE.
Yeah.
So if you love seeing plants that somehow magically survive in jungles and deserts, cacti, they do, succulents as well. I'm infatuated with them, and everywhere I go now, they just kind of jump out at me, and I take pictures of them, and it's just a lot of fun. So come join me.
Come join him if you want to see the cactuses. He's already been getting feedback on his account, so
I have.
So you know what? No one is immune to feedback on their and social media. All right, let's talk about Kasey Jo Ordivas, obsessed with the connection between mindset and health behaviors. Kasey Jo went and got a PhD in psychology to study growth versus the fixed mindset, okay? Growth versus fixed, and that's key. It was a great conversation. She then developed her own program, Health Mindset Coaching Certification, and started her health and fitness coaching business, KJO Coaching. She's a determined woman working to blend psychology and health to help her clients develop lasting change. Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, first off, I had no idea that mindset wasn't just a concept, but it was a science. There's science behind mindset.
I know. Everyone thinks it's a woo-woo, but it's actually completely scientifically based. So
yeah. So I guess it made sense to me that she studied psychology, of course. But then after getting the foundation, in psychology, then went on to do her study in mindset. Mm-hmm. And so that I found that really, really surprising.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I love it. Well, you mentioned this already in her bio, so I'm going to start with it. One thing I love that she talked about is the growth versus fixed mindset, and I think this is really a cool topic. I find that when we can actually label something, it makes it easier for us to understand what's happening. So I this weekend had a complete moment of a fixed mindset, and so just so you know, I think we talked about this in the podcast interview. You don't just get a growth mindset and you're done. Whoop, nailed it, right? You actually have to keep working at that. So just so you know, if you have days where you are abundance, I can do it all, and you don't see things as holding you back, or you don't see someone else's success as a reason you can't have it, that doesn't mean you're never going to have those moments where you're I can't, or this isn't working, I'm not good enough. You're a human being, but
also too, there's more than, it's not you're not chasing the mindset unicorn, and once you caught the unicorn, you're good for the rest of your life.
Right.
It's also spread out across different topics too, right? Mm-hmm. You may have really worked on your money mindset, let's say.
Yeah.
But your confidence in yourself in dating maybe isn't there, right? So it's not once you got it one place, you nailed it everywhere either.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because I think that's where like, and we can talk about this later in the episode, but like I think that's where imposter syndrome comes in because you feel like you're good here, but you're not good there. And I see this with our agency members all the time. They're like, yeah, but I got it here and now I don't have it here. And it's like, right, because it's...
I mean, Kasey talked about that too. She's like, even after 5 years of studying mindset and understanding, everything behind it, the foundation of it and why it happens, she said she still catches herself limiting herself and creating these limiting beliefs of like, I can't, that's not for me. Like these kinds of words that are associated with a fixed mindset as opposed to a growth mindset. And I
think we talked about this on Michael Unbroken's episode. Like the worst thing you can say is that's just who I am.
Yes. That's the worst thing you can say. And that was the episode. That was a great episode.
That's a fixed mindset. So I highly recommend, listen to the words you're saying. If it's can't, not good enough, I don't know enough.
Or that's not for me.
That's just who I am.
Yep.
Just explore those. It's okay to look, there's I'm not not a lot of foods are for me, but right. So that's fine. But just be mindful of what you're saying about yourself because that fixed mindset could be literally starts to limit you and limit you in other areas.
I think this is a great opportunity to talk about the why.
The why?
Yeah, the whys of asking yourself the 7 whys.
Oh, yeah.
That. This is
so funny. I just saw him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the 7 layers to why is from Dean Graziosi, and the most hilarious thing is I just told Brad, hey, I just saw him while I was having breakfast with Kareen in Arizona. So speaking of Dean, you weren't in that part of that conversation, but now you are. It's just why do his is more why do you want to do this? Why do I want to write a book? Because I want to get my message out there. Why do you want to get your message out there? Because my message can change lives. Why do you want to change lives? Because I grew up with people who told me I couldn't do anything. Why is that important to you? Why? Until you get to the whole thing, which is I don't ever want anyone to ever live in a world where they can't believe in what they do. Or I don't want it's not, so.
It's a fascinating dive into your own thinking. And this is actually something that we didn't pick as a talking point, but Kasey Jo was talking about researching your own mind and listening to the words that circulate in your own thoughts. And then, but this researching your own mind, that is a great tool. The whys is a great tool to understanding yourself.
And you can also do the why do I think that? Who told me that? And that goes with Thor, right? When we had that guest Thor, he who says I can't do that? And Byron Katie talks about this a lot, where it's just who would you be if you didn't have this fixed mindset? Who would you be if you didn't have the thought you couldn't do the thing? You'd be the person who could do the thing.
Or what would the person who could do that thing, what would they be doing?
Yep.
Or how would they be thinking?
Oh, hey, be it till you see it.
Hey.
We can just go on and on about this whole thing. It could be, it should be its own episode. We just had it with Kasey. So at any rate, I think to wrap this up with a little bow, and it kind of leads into your thing. It is okay if you have a fixed mindset moment. You're a human being.
Yeah.
What you then need to do is explore that in your mind, in writing, in conversation with others around it, so that you can pull yourself into a growth mindset aspect. And what will happen is you'll get faster and faster at doing this. Your fixed mindset
you'll identify it.
Might take you 6 months to get over them, but then after that you are able to do it in 6 weeks, and then it's in 6 days, and then it's in 6 minutes. You're like, oh, what is that thought? Oh, hello, old thought coming back in. Nice to see you. We don't agree with that anymore. You get to there's the author of Chatter. People use their own name to talk to themselves when they were trying to train a thought over, and you might sound like a crazy person, but you're not. There's actually science around that. So anyways, I'm obsessed with it. Anyways, what did you love?
Well, I am so I'm glad we're digging into growth versus fixed mindset, because I know that's one of the things we talk about so much on the show and in our webinars with Profitable Pilates. But one of the consistently recurring struggles that we've been told people are really digging into is imposter syndrome. And also, I mean, or experiencing, not necessarily digging into, but experiencing. And I know this is something that I also deal with, you also deal with, imposter syndrome.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And when we talk about imposter syndrome, I know it makes me feel small. Like it makes me feel like oh yeah, you know, like I'm just not good enough for the thing, or why am I why are people listening to me? How do I have the authority to do all this kind of stuff? And I want to kind of flip this the perspective of it. Typically, we associate it with fear, negativity, right?
When we go in, people go into, I see it all the time in the people we coach, or even in our OPC group, if they feel like an imposter, they go into like a shame spiral, and then it goes into a fixed mindset, and then it's like this whole thing, and it's like, yeah. Anyway.
Well, so I want to flip it though, because one thing that Kasey Jo mentioned was having imposter syndrome definitely means you're not a narcissist.
Right. So it's not a bad thing.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Like sometimes I think it's helpful to acknowledge that, you know, we really do care about our work. We do care that we're conveying a message that is going to be helpful for people and beneficial for people. You know, so it's funny because everything has a plus and a minus, even imposter syndrome.
Well, and I also think like it shows you care. Like, it just shows you care, and also it might even show you that you know more, because when you know more, then you know you don't know what you don't know.
Oh yeah,
you know
that's another
and
thing
like,
that two of you talked about.
The more that you know, the more you learn what you don't know, and that creates this own it's this like new level, new devil. So you know, I think I love that you brought this up, because I think it's okay to just call it out. I'm feeling, we do this all the time at the house. I'm feeling imposter syndrome around this right now. And then when you pull it out of your head, it's all of a sudden like, it doesn't actually have the power anymore. Doesn't mean you don't have the feelings anymore, but it doesn't have that power. And then you can actually talk about it. And sometimes it can feel really silly, or sometimes it can go, oh, it's because I'm not doing this thing over here. Because I'm not doing this thing over here, I have imposter syndrome around this because I don't feel authentic. Okay, so now I know I need to work on.
Yeah. I mean, and one thing you can do is actually write this down, because I find it a lot easier when I'm looking at something. Is then I can kind of analyze it from the other side. Right? This is all mindset, right? Like when you're receiving something in and it's negative, well, how do we, from an objective perspective, like third party, what if you could stand on the side of yourself and look at this happening to you? How do you look at it and see what could be positive about that, right? So if you're experiencing imposter syndrome in a way of like, I don't know why I'm the one that was picked to teach this class or something like that, write that down. And then I think that will allow you, like, I don't know why I was picked for this. You know, then it will allow you to go, maybe I was picked for this for something else. And you can kind of see that. When you're looking at it, I find it's easier, and this is a very strange internal dialogue, and it's only really started to be available since I started doing journaling, because I've never really written things down, especially my feelings in that way, or like what I'm struggling with or worried about, and you know, when you're just writing it out, suddenly you can say, all right, well, what if this was a positive for me instead of a negative? How does that look? What is that actually? And then you can focus on that.
Yeah, and maybe you write down the questions you're going to ask yourself when you're having imposter syndrome, when you're not having it, so that you have this list next to your desk. So it's like, then you can like go through the questions that work for you. I really like that. Cool.
All right. So finally, let's talk about those beit action items that you covered with Kasey Jo Ordivas. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo? I will jump in right here, and I kind of already hinted at this. Actually, it looks like I hinted at both of ours. But researching your thoughts. We were talking about those 7 whys. Where did this thought come from? So this is the fixed versus open growth mindsets, right? Where did that thought come from? Was that like something you inherited from a family member, from a teacher, from another friend of yours, from an experience that personally happened to you. Why is that thought there? Is that thought really true? What is the evidence for that thought being true? What is the evidence against that thought? And then, be basically like a researcher of your own mindset, your own mentality. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? And be willing to actually look at it.
Yeah, I really love that. I mean, we did this when we were doing the Artist Way, and I was like, oh, I don't cook because of this one time my grandfather yelled at me about how I made a grilled cheese sandwich. Is that really what stopped me from learning how to cook?
And it's also
so silly.
Well, it's also funny because I think that is a fascinating example. In that you never told me that story before.
I know.
And we've been married for a long time, and I never heard that. And suddenly, through the process of journaling, you were like, I just remembered something. Yeah. And I wonder if this is part of my mindset.
Yeah.
Around cooking.
Yeah. And, and I know that sounds like, oh, Lesley, it's just cooking. It's like, yeah, but that has stopped me from cooking for years, y'all. We're talking, Brad goes away, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have some almonds for dinner. I think that's good. Is that good? Thank God for Postmates. Okay, here's me.
I just want to give you a little shout out. Since discovering that, what were the action items that you took?
Oh, I started cooking a new recipe a week from this cookbook from a restaurant that I love in Siem Reap, and I would have cooked a new recipe this week, but Brad cooked my cauliflower, and that was supposed to be for cauliflower bites. So we will start that when we get back. I will put a big fat post-it note. Don't cook this head of cauliflower. It's for my new experiment.
That's so funny. I didn't know that. But the reason I wanted to keep talking about this is because you identified it, right? And then you talked about it, and then you made a decision. Yeah. And you took action, and
goes into my beit action item, which is write it out. What can you start today?
There you go.
And thank you for setting me up for that. And so that's what I did. I was like, okay, how can I start something small today? I don't want to take a cooking class, y'all. I know I'm on a hobby hunt. That's not something I want. I want that kind of pressure. I just wanted it to be fun and easy. And so the first thing I made were these fudge brownie. They're supposed to be balls, but I made them bites, and they're amazing. And so it was I looked at all the recipes, and I looked at which one would be the easiest one to start with. I did not take on, there's this one that I was like, oh, I love that recipe, but I didn't take it on because it was a little bit outside my element. So I took them when I could, and so I did write it out. I did look at it, and I thought about okay, what are some ways I can make this happen? And we have a lot of people who talk about writing things out in their beit action items, and this one was really specific. What can you literally do starting today? And so I feel like that's an even better beit action item than just write it out. It's what is it that you can do right now? Yeah. Because if you start writing out, you're like, oh, I actually couldn't start that one. I'd have to, you keep going, you'll end up getting a step that you can take. And it's going to actually tell your brain, oh, growth mindset, I'm taking a step forward in this. Right. It's going to be the antidote to fear we talk about in every one of these episodes.
You're getting a micro win. That helps you celebrate. Yeah. That helps your mindset. Gives you confidence.
Yeah. So I've actually, I have also been making my own lunch now. Brad is not watching me go.
And it's actually a real lunch.
It is a real lunch. It is. We have more dishes to do every day now. So anyways, that's the other side of that. Well, I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
How are we going to use these tips in your life? Let us know. I want you to screenshot this episode, tag the Beit Pod. You can now tag Cactus Daddy. You can also tag Coach Kasey Jo with your takeaways. Please do this so we know what you're doing. We want to celebrate you. We want to be cheerleaders for you in your DMs because we know how much you need that. I need that. You're all human beings. It's okay to need people to high five you for what you're doing. So tag us and let us know how you're doing this and share it with someone else who needs this. If you have a friend in your life who's like, woo, they got a fixed mindset, driving me nuts, just send them this episode and you don't have to say anything. It'll just nudge them right along. So thank you so much. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Beit Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Fraterelli.
Kevin Perez at Disenyo handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jaira Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally, to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.